This is Pablo from Cabo Labs Health Informatics. This is a small video about something I've seen a lot on HL7 presentations and mostly about fire. Right now, the HL7 community is doing a lot of marketing around the new fire specification and showing this specific slide to a lot of hospitals, clinics, decision makers, software development companies, etc. And they are doing a strong work doing marketing. But some of the things that they show or they say are not so correct, and this is one of them. So I want to make a point here to analyze what they are trying to say with this specific slide. So I will have a little review of what is proposed as or what they say, what they comment about the four interoperability paradigms. This is not explained in detail. Why are these four REST documents, messages, and services interoperability paradigms? But we need to understand that these are proposed by HL7 and are not interoperability paradigms in general. Yeah, this only works in the HL7 standard family. Yeah, so this is to classify standards, and this is not really paradigms. Yeah, these are not really paradigms. It's a way to classify the HL7, the different HL7 standards. Yeah. That is the first thing. This is not interoperability paradigms as this is said to be. The second thing is this classification is wrong because it's not a good classification, and I will tell you in a minute why. First, we have REST, that is REST web services, that is a set of I would say rules and guides to follow. It's not a strong specification, it's not a standard specification, so it's a way to implement web services. But in the same classification we have services, so that is not a very good classification. And I believe when they say services, they are focusing on web services implemented with the SOAP standard. That is the SOAP is a standard, is a protocol. Yeah, but REST isn't. But both can be used to implement services. That is the first thing that is wrong with this. The second thing is documents. Documents is not an interoperability paradigm in any way. Documents are content, and is content that can be shared using any kind of communication protocol, or we can call it interoperability techniques or patterns, maybe, but documents are content, really. So we have different things. And messages is content also, but it's also an enterprise integration pattern. And if you know something about interoperability and integration, you should know this site, the enterprise integration patterns. There is a book about this that every integration or engineer or person that works on integrating systems and implementing services and interfaces between systems and working with data manipulation and communication, you should know about this. If you don't know about this, you are doing it wrong, basically. So what this book says, this is like the Bible for system integration, enterprise system integration. So if you don't know this, I don't know what you are doing. But basically, what they propose is a classification for different enterprise integration patterns. So it's to share information between systems, and there are 4 approaches. File transfer. We all know what file transfer is. Shared database. We all know that what shared database is. That is an interoperability anti-pattern, really, because we are, sharing information between systems using the database is not really interoperability. Remote procedural invocation. SOAP, the SOAP protocol falls under this category. So the first this services box follows under this remote procedure invocation category. And messaging, we can say that messages falls under that. So 2 things here, messages and services, fall under 2 categories here. But also REST. REST is a way to implement services. So I would say REST and services falls under this category, remote procedure invocation. But REST is not real remote procedure invocation. SOAP is based on remote procedure invocation. But if we are not so strict, we can say both falls under that, and messaging falls under the fourth category here of the enterprise integration patterns. That is the Bible for system integration. So that is the first thing that what I think this classification is wrong. First is because these are not paradigms. Second is they are meant to classify HL7 standards. This doesn't apply in general. So this is something the people that does these presentations is not telling you. So just to be clear for everyone, we need to add clearness and strict definitions, and this add noise really to the market. These are not paradigms in general. These are not paradigms at all, but these classifications doesn't apply in general. These particular classifications are for HL7 only standards. Yeah. First, that. Second is that REST and services might fall under one category of the enterprise integration patterns. Yeah. And messages might fall under the 4th category. Yeah. Perfect. So documents is content, really. Documents. It's not an integration pattern. It's not a technique. It's not a protocol. It's just content that can be shared using REST services, messages even. Yeah. So I thought about this and I tried to make sense of this classification. So what I did is I did a small diagram here. So this is what we have that is not correct. Can be applied in general. That just applies to the HL7 standards family. Yeah. And second is classifying things that are not on the same level of classification. We are talking about potatoes and trees, and cars and and planes are things that are not comparable. So we can't classify things that we can compare, really. So this is not so correct. I put some colors here to give you a reference. So we have REST first, documents, messages, and services. And here I try to correct this classification, try to make sense of this classification. So we have messaging as one of the possible enterprise integration patterns that we saw here. So messaging is the 4th one. Yeah, good, perfect. We can say that here we can have this remote procedure invocation. So I will put here remote procedure invocation here with another color. I will put this in this way. Good. And this is another enterprise integration pattern, and we can classify SOAP as one kind of remote procedure invocation. REST is not a remote procedure invocation, but we might force the definition a little, but it's not. Yeah, so only SOAP. So we have messaging here from the HL7 classification, and we have, on the other hand, here an architectural interoperability design, like a big box here. One possible, from the architecture point of view, how we can design the interoperability, we can do a service-oriented architecture. So we have SOA here, so we can have service-oriented architecture here. And for implementing this, we can use SOAP, or we can use REST. And these are implementation approaches. And we have SOAP, that I think SOAP is the services that are described by the 4 classifications of HL7. So I put there SOAP instead of services, because both are services really. And REST is a set of rules and good practices to implement services using just HTTP. SOAP can use HTTP as transport, but is independent from the communication protocol that is used to transport the data. Yeah, so this is at the level of implementation approaches. So we have different levels here. And inside those SOAP transactions or REST transactions, or even inside the messages, we can put documents. So documents is on the content level. And we can put contents, documents, we can put records, that is partial structures that can be part of documents or can live independently of documents. We can also, one specific type of structures are time series, that is data associated with specific points or periods of time, or we can have just individual data points. Individual, this is like the most atomic data that we can have associated with a patient. Yeah. We can talk about this being just clinical data, but this can apply to administrative data, to financial data, etc., etc., etc. But we can focus just on clinical data. So this can be individual data points, like, I don't know, the heart rate of a patient. Yeah? And even the heart rate can be in a time series, and the time series can be on records, or records can be other types of structures, and documents can contain records, can contain time series, and can contain individual data points. So this is at the level of content. This is all the content I could thought of. We can have also multimedia here, like images, waveforms, sounds, video, etc., etc., etc. But to make this classification simple, I just set this type of content. So we have 2 things that are services, really. So this and these are services. Documents is content, yeah, and messaging is one enterprise integration pattern. So it uses messages and can contain records, documents, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. We can even think of sending records as messages or inside messages, and use REST to communicate those records. So this is not a hard classification. Yeah. So we can use documents, we can use messages, and we can use REST. Yeah, but in the sense of the enterprise service, enterprise integration patterns, yeah, I would say that REST doesn't fall on remote procedure invocation. I think it's a separate thing, but we can classify that as remote procedure invocation. It looks more like that than messaging. So it depends on what we think REST is classified on. But if we can use remote procedure invocation for REST, for remote procedure invocation, we can send documents through REST. So it it doesn't make much sense, this classification. For all those reasons, this classification is wrong. This classification only applies to HL7 standards, not in general. These are not paradigms. Some are protocols, some are good practices and rules, some are enterprise integration patterns, or can be classified on one specific type of enterprise integration patterns, and like REST and services and messages. And documents are content. Yeah, so I wanted just to clarify that for people that don't know much about HL7 and is constantly, I would say, reached with these marketing presentations that are more marketing related than technical related. And this specific slide is shown systematically on all their presentations. And I think this is incorrect. This is misguiding for people that don't know about HL7, don't know about FHIR. This doesn't help. This just creates noise. So people end up thinking that these are the four paradigms that apply to every interoperability related. And it doesn't. It just applies to HL7. And this classification is just wrong. As I show you, this classification is more correct from the point of view of a real classification, yeah, and considering the Bible of everything related to integration and interoperability. So we need to consider these things. This is just a small, I don't know how you can put it, but it's just a small guide. It's an independent guide. I have nothing to do with HL7, but I work with HL7 a lot. But I think when someone does something wrong that affects a lot of people, it's better to have some kind of thought about it and maybe try to fix the situation. But this specific slide creates a lot of noise, and I receive a lot of questions related to this and FHIR related questions from my customers, and it's because of this misguiding and this marketing, I would say, phase that is being executed currently in HL7, and since FHIR was published, the first version of FHIR. I understand they want to get this through and they want to get FHIR adopted. That is great, and I think it will. But I think it doesn't make much sense to add noise when we can add clearness to the market and to our customers. So I prefer to show this than this. Yeah. So this is also a small video I will send my customers when they ask about the four interoperability paradigms proposed by HL7. I will show them this small video. So I hope this helps. Goodbye.